Same area and down to Representative McGuire lives. Today, McGuire and Anderson are characterizing the incident as a misunderstanding that has since been resolved. But sources tell Channel 2 that over police radio last night, McGuire said she locked herself in her bedroom, saying Anderson was being aggressive. Sources also say she told police she had a cut on her hand. Juneau police are releasing few details about the incident, but say they are still investigating.
At this point, because the investigation is still active and ongoing, we won't comment on anything additional.
Representative Anderson is divorced, and Representative McGuire is going through a divorce at this time. Both Representative Anderson and McGuire released a joint written statement tonight saying, quote, "We are best friends and colleagues. It is unfortunate that a disagreement of a personal nature between the two of us last night is being reported on. Last night was a misunderstanding and has been completely resolved. We remain best friends." House Speaker Pete Cott said late this evening that he does not anticipate any political fallout because of the incident. He says as far as he is concerned and what he has heard, that everything has been resolved. Maria?
Jonna, have you heard from either Representative McGuire or Anderson in person today? What are they saying other than what's in their release, if anything?
They're not saying anything right now. I have not heard from either of them. Both of them declined an on-camera interview. Representative McGuire was excused earlier today from a committee meeting. Right now, at this hour, the Majority Caucus is meeting, and neither of them showed up for that meeting. They chose instead to release just the written statement, and that is it. Maria?
All right, thanks, John. And John and Trinker reporting tonight from the state capitol.
Hundreds of friends, students, and family members are gathering tonight to say goodbye to Service High School Principal Pat Podvin, who committed suicide last week. A public memorial is underway for Podvin at Chugiak High School at this hour. That's where we find Channel 2's Warren Williamson tonight. Warren?
Good evening, John. As expected, it's a somber day here in Eagle River and throughout the Anchorage School District as friends and family gather tonight to say goodbye to a husband, father, friend, and principal. Longtime resident and Service High School Principal Pat Podvin is being remembered today after police say he took his own life last Wednesday. Hundreds of people come to Chugiak High School this evening to pay their last respects to a man friends say was a dedicated educator and a wonderful father. Testimony to that was the dozens of pictures and heartfelt written messages to the Podvin family from not only Service High School students, but from those at Chugiak. Podvin had a long history of dealing with being sexually abused by Monsignor Frank Murphy here in the Anchorage Archdiocese when Podvin was 18. It was just a year ago Podvin admitted he was abused and said he was at peace after making that announcement. Friends and family of Podvin say the message they hope to spread this evening is a message of Podvin's dedication to his school and students, and that suicide is never the answer.
Suicide is not the answer. You need to talk to friends, talk to family. You need to get help. There's got to be somebody that you can relate to, and that's going to be the message coming out. And we have information here, brochures, people that you can call.
I think many of us, students, staff, administrators, are remiss in that we couldn't do more, maybe, to help Pat. But the message to the kids is, and to our community, is that we really do care. And I think the fact that Trell Como is here tonight is a testament to that.
Now, behind me, dozens of people are filing in the cafeteria, bringing messages of love and hope, bringing food and drink for this uplifting memorial service. On the agenda tonight, Maria and John, is Natalie Burnett, who will host the event, the memorial. She's the assistant principal here. The CHS Men's Choir Group will also perform, and Carol Como, we're told, will speak, bringing a message of hope and love to the Podvin family and to students throughout the district.
And Warren, I understand that the family has asked that no cameras be allowed inside. Of course, we respect those wishes. Also understand that students from all over the district have written messages to the Podvin family.
John, they actually did. There was a lot of messages, dozens and dozens of handwritten messages, not only from Service, but from Chugiak and all the schools in the ASD district, messages of love and all kinds of messages of hope that suicide is not the answer. But one specific message touched me, and that is from an unknown writer who says, "The spirit of a man who above all else believed in our future, even when he could not see his own."
Thank you, Warren. Warren Williamson tonight, live out at Chugiak High School.
The Alaska Senate approves a bill to give parents the ability to check their child's library records. The bill was sponsored by Wasilla Republican Lyda Green after she received complaints from parents who said the library would not release information on what books their children were checking out. They were told that information is only released when the library is trying to collect fees for overdue books. Opponents of Lyda Green's bill say it should be up to the parents to know what their children are reading without having to get information from the library. The bill will come up again tomorrow for a final vote. And that was the topic of yesterday's KTUU.com poll. We asked, should parents have the right to access their children's public library records? Well, 78% said yes, 21% responded no, 1% were undecided. Again, this is an unscientific poll.
Confusion over a bond leaves some Assembly members scrambling today to clarify the intent. A fast-track move to get the school district's new administration building on the ballot got the building on the ballot before the building in question had even been approved. Channel 2's Meg Stapleton standing by, or has the details tonight.
Many considered it a done deal. Renovate the old Kmart near Northway Mall and move school administrative offices inside. The district, the school board, the Anchorage Assembly all on board with a plan. Let voters decide if it's worth $30 million.
We did go to the Assembly, and we did get their approval to at least put $30 million on the ballot for bonding.
The plan gives the school district another $1 million a year to put back in the classroom if the plan is approved. It could also jumpstart a Northway Town Center and help revitalize the area.
And the facts are that after going through a public process, after going through a competitive process, and after looking at all the needs, the best site right now fitting all of those needs is the Kmart building.
But now the city says the idea is not final. The school district and its potential developers have not yet worked with the planning department on this site. It was an assumption Alan Teshi and other assembly members made, including the chairman, when they approved the idea for the ballot, and was surprised when the city said differently last Friday.
Because the school district was very clear and very candid with the assembly in making us understand why they felt the Kmart site had merit and how they would use that Kmart site and the construction of the new building as a catalyst for development of the Northway Town Center. And it was on that basis that I felt it's worthwhile to put this issue before the voters.
Now the Assembly is stepping forward to eliminate confusion with the voters and to guarantee one thing. If voters approve a new school administrative building, it will be at the old Kmart site. The city's planning department will be stepped over this time around.
The decision has been made. Arguably, the code sections that would otherwise require prior approval by the Planning and Zoning Commission have effectively been superseded by the Assembly's passage of the ordinance placing this matter on the ballot.
The mayor agrees because the old Kmart building is the assumed place, and if voters want it there, it will work to put it there.
If this is the site that the school district feels comfortable with and it's cost effective and the voters approve it, then it is incumbent upon the city to work with the district to make it happen.
Now it's in the voters' hands with a commitment for it to stay there. Meg Stapleton, Channel 2 News.
The school district says, as it stands, it feels the Kmart site would pass planning and zoning because it says the building does meet all the city's current requirements. Well, still ahead, reaching out to Alaska's rural communities. A new service from GCI, however, has some local doctors feeling left out.
And controversy over Area M. Fishermen say the fight is not over.
At Northrim Bank, we're committed to serving Alaska businesses. We understand that you want a banker who takes the time to get to know you and your business, who understands the challenges that you face. A local bank that has helped thousands of Alaska businesses with services to help you manage your business better.
Northrim, we're the business bank Alaskans can count on.
It's one of the most addictive substances you can put in your body. And once you start, it's incredibly difficult to stop. Your friends, family, everyone around you will suffer. Every year it kills 53,000 Americans who don't even use it. It's secondhand smoke. Get it out of your home before someone gets hurt.
Hi, I'm Sarah Palin. You know, out of the thousands of us who commute into Anchorage every day for work, there's a whole herd of us who'd rather be commuting on our sleds. But until that day, the law says our cars and trucks may need an IM sticker. If you live in the valley and commute to school or work, you'll need one. And remember, the IM program was created to reduce emissions for all Alaskans, not just Anchorage. It's your air. Keep it clean.
Here!
Keep it clean!
Western Alaska subsistence fishermen want federal intervention to overrule a state board of fisheries decision last week. The board removed fishing restrictions in the hotly contested Area M fishery on the Alaska Peninsula, a move many in western Alaska say will come at the expense of subsistence fishermen. Channel 2's Jason Moore is in the newsroom with more on that story. Jason.
Well, Marie, today Governor Murkowski traveled to Bethel to attend a meeting and was met by protesters upset over the Board of Fisheries decision. The governor told the Association of Village Council Presidents with no new information the board's decision will stand. Area M encompasses the tip of the Alaska Peninsula, including the communities of Sandpoint, King Cove, and False Pass. It's primarily a sockeye salmon fishery, but they also catch chums, some of which are bound for streams in western Alaska. And some stocks, particularly those in Norton Sound, are in poor shape, not enough for even subsistence. That's why subsistence groups are now asking the federal government to intervene.
We are requesting extension of federal territorial jurisdiction on the fishery so that the feds can manage the fisheries, because we feel that the State Board of Fish System, even though they're saying it's an allocation issue, is not putting into the consideration the conservation concerns that the state of Alaska should be concerned about.
Now, the Board of Fish last week increased fishing time in Area M by more than 200%. Fishermen from the area say their fishery had been restricted for years with no improvement in western Alaska stocks.
We feel for their lifestyle. They're hardworking people. But there's a solution to that problem. We were part of their solution for years, cutting us way back to just a few hours a day fishing, and that didn't improve their situation at all.
If subsistence groups are to be successful in winning federal intervention, they will need to convince the Secretary of Interior, Gail Norton, to make that declaration. It's something that has never happened since the feds took control of subsistence fishing in Alaska. Maria?
And Jason, what's the likelihood of the federal intervention?
Well, really, there's no precedent for it. Officials with the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service say they would have to study this issue extensively, and there would have to be a clear link between the fishing in Area M, hundreds and sometimes more than 1,000 miles away from where these stocks of concern are in western Alaska. The state has studied this, and most biologists agree that Area M fishermen do in fact catch fish bound for all over Alaska, but the impact on any one stock is minimal. However, when subsistence needs are not being met, does that mean there can be absolutely no interception? It's one of those questions that will certainly have to be answered.
All right, thanks, Jason. Jason Moore reporting tonight in the Channel 2 newsroom.
The state has decided its controversial aerial wolf program needs to expand to be more effective. This week, the Department of Fish and Game expanded the boundary in Game Management Unit 19D by nearly 2,000 square miles. The area includes McGrath, Nikolai, and Talida, and now extends over 3,500 square miles. The program is strongly supported by area residents who want moose populations to rebound. So far, since late last year, only 3 wolves have been taken from the McGrath area. Biologists say a combination of things, including rough terrain, have led to the low harvest. Meanwhile, another 88 wolves have been taken from a second aerial hunt in the Nelchina Basin. The Game Board is meeting in Fairbanks this week. Board members have heard from dozens of residents who want other predator control programs expanded, including the killing of black and brown bear, sows, and cubs. Well, still ahead, First Tuesday.
A look at where the U.S. Senate race stands coming up next.
Well, it looks like this winter's weather will be mostly cold and snowy, and come summer, it'll be generally warm and sunny. If you want all the details, log on to KTUU.com and go to the Channel 2 Weather Center for all the forecasts, webcams, and stuff, sponsored by AT&T Alascom. Oh, here's a detail I missed.
Take a journey into the wilderness with Alaskan artist James Havens. It's the latest release in the Legends of Winter series. Beautiful, signed and numbered, limited edition prints depicting life on the sled dog trail. This delightful print portrays 2 mischievous ravens with a stolen dog booty. Come and get your free print and have it personally signed by the artist at Alaska Sales and Service, Saturday, March 6th from 10 to 2 and Sunday, March 7th from 3 to 6.
Nerves from your brain and spinal cord affect every organ, muscle, and cell in your body. Pressure on these nerves, such as from a misaligned vertebra, can cause a wide variety of health problems. The most effective solution is often a matter of physically helping the vertebra return to its proper position. That's what chiropractic care does. It's a mechanical solution to a mechanical problem. Chiropractic may involve applying direct pressure on the vertebra, loosening the muscles around it, or both, all to restore normal nerve flow, reduce pain, and increase joint mobility and overall health.
Ever wonder how the Aces keep skating game after game? If Ireland Chiropractic can put these guys back together, imagine what they could do for you and that nagging pain of yours. Ireland Chiropractic, official chiropractors of the Alaska Aces.
You're watching the Channel 2 News Hour, Alaska's most watched newscast.
Election Day is 8 months away, and if the race for U.S. Senate were held today, it would still be a toss-up.
The race between Lisa Murkowski and Tony Knowles still tight and has grown even tighter in the last month. Here on First Tuesday is pollster and Channel 2 analyst Ivan Moore. Ivan?
Thanks, John and Maria. The media war has started. It's a cause for celebration amongst us hardcore political observers, probably not so much amongst regular folks who realize it's not going to stop between now and November. And perhaps it's not a war yet. Lisa Murkowski started airing radio spots shortly after our third poll last month and has been running them ever since. But so far, no counter from Tony Knowles. There's an old adage in politics that says, never allow your opponent unopposed airtime. So should he have gone too? Are people even paying attention this early anyway? Last month, it was a 4-point lead to Tony Knowles. Let's see what it is now. Tony Knowles continues to lead with 45% of the vote. Lisa Murkowski with 41.7%, so a lead of 3.3%. Jim Sykes, the Green Party candidate, comes in with 2.3% there. So the race has narrowed slightly. Okay, fasten your seatbelts, folks. I'm going to introduce you now to a pollstering technique that will reveal a little detail within these race numbers. Despite what we learn in civics class, all votes are not the same. They come in different shades or strengths. We measure them in 4 ways. Strongly for a candidate, moderately for a candidate, leaning towards a candidate, or neutral in the middle. And this is how it looks right now. Have a look at this. We have Lisa Murkowski. Look at the strongs there. It's a very polarized race. We've got the largest bars on the left where we have a strong Murkowski bar of 23.1%, and all the way over on the right we have a strong Knowles bar of 29.8%. Then we have the moderates, the leanings, and the neutrals in the middle. So more than half of the voters with the 23.1 on the left and 29.8 on the right are strong to one or the other. Looking at how the strongs have behaved over the last 4 polls, we see a steady leaking of Lisa's strong vote over the last 4 polls, starting with 28% back in November, and now down to 23%, so dropping 5 points over the course of the 4 polls. On the other hand, Tony's strong vote started with 28% in November, and then I had to go back and check my data here, but 29.8% in January, 29.8% in February, 29.8% in March. So a very consistent, strong vote there for Tony. Now, the real value of this technique comes when we combine together the 2 leaning categories in the middle and the neutrals, the 3 groups in the middle of the 7-point scale. We call these folks, when they're combined together, target voters. All the subsequent campaigning that goes on is going to be primarily directed at this group, for they're the ones that are still up for grabs. Over the 4 polls so far, we see little change in the size of the target voter group, 27%, 28%, 28%, 29%. In fact, it's not a surprise to me that it's growing slightly during the course of the campaign as ads really start to air and bombs start getting lobbed backwards and forwards. The target voter group is going to grow a little bit, and then at some point later in the campaign, it will break and drop precipitously, but probably not until the last few weeks. And of course, who the target voters break to is going to decide this race.
Right, so if the campaigns now need to direct their messages to these target voters, who are they?
Well, in this poll, the target voters are slightly majority women, which is not a surprise. Men, I think us men like to make up their mind good and early. It's also kind of largely younger voters because they kind of a little bit less in touch and take a little bit longer to get their opinions together. And interestingly, quite heavy conservative, quite heavy Republican. When the registered voters with a political party, Republicans or Democrats, tend to go to the extremes very early. You tend to get left in the middle with nonpartisan voters, moderate voters. But actually, there's a lot of conservative and Republican voters playing hard to get for Lisa there in the middle. And that's good for Lisa. I think ultimately she'll stand a better chance of winning those people back. But that's going to be the battle. It's going to be interesting.
Very interesting.
Thanks, Ivan.
Thanks,
More
Ivan.
tonight.
Well, still ahead, it houses state offices and some businesses, and now it's the site of an important scientific study. Steve McDonald's here with tonight's Closer Look report.
Yeah, we're talking about the Atwood Building, one of Anchorage's tallest skyscrapers. Scientists are hoping it will someday provide some critical information about earthquakes.
My dad taught me three things: perseverance, to work hard, and to pull together. My dad, Ken Stout, is running for the Anchorage Assembly. He will be a good assemblyman because he's accessible, he's willing to work hard, he's willing to learn and know the issues. My dad will do whatever it takes to get the job done. For a great assemblyman on the east side, vote for my dad, Ken Stout.
It seemed like everything hit at once.
The car broke down.
And the water heater.
I lost my job.
We turned to our credit cards, and it just got completely out of control.
So we called debt reduction services.
They worked with our creditors to get the interest rates reduced on our credit cards and to stop the late and over-limit fees.
And consolidated our bills into one monthly payment that we can afford.
It was so easy.
Call Debt Reduction Services at 569-0200 and learn to live debt-free.
NBC tonight, it's Sex in the City, Whoopi style.
I'm tired of people grabbing my behind. They're not grabbing it, Mavis. They're trying to get past it.
Followed by Happy Family with Parents Gone Wild.
We broke the headboard on our bed last
Then, on Frasier, a family crisis will test two brothers.
It would be very hard to walk into this apartment and see that chair and know that Dad wasn't here anymore.
Oh, I'd get rid of that chair immediately.
Plus, an all-new Scrubs, NBC tonight.
Later this month, Alaskans mark an important date in the state's history. March 27th is the 40th anniversary of the Good Friday earthquake. Since that fateful day in 1964, scientists have worked to learn more about earthquakes in Alaska. Their latest effort went online in January. It's a project that's turned one of Anchorage's largest buildings into a laboratory, and the results could help Alaskans live safer lives in earthquake country. The Atwood Building is an office tower stretching some 20 stories into the Anchorage skyline. It's home to a myriad of businesses, including many state offices. This is also where the governor works when he comes to town. But now there's a new role for the Atwood Building. It's become one of the most seismically monitored buildings in the world.
What we're doing is we're looking at monitoring the incoming seismic wave and then the effect of that seismic wave or waves on the building structure itself.
John Aho is an earthquake engineer and a member of the Earthquake Engineering Institute. With financial help from the U.S. Geological Survey, they've turned the Atwood Building into a research lab. From the basement parking garage to the roof, the place is wired with different types of monitoring equipment.
From a structural standpoint, we want to see how various structural types have responded to major earthquakes. And number two, and the ones that are damaged, we want to know why they were damaged and how we can change things in the future so that damage doesn't occur in the future and the structures are more earthquake resistant.
35 seismic monitors are strategically placed throughout the building. Some are in the basement parking garage, others hidden above the ceiling tiles in various offices, each one designed to measure how the building reacts to a strong earthquake.
What we want to do is we want to look at translatory motion, how the building moves in its main axis directions. We're looking at torsion, how the building twists under earthquake motion. We want to look at interstory drift, how the building floors move in relation to each other. And then we want to look at what's called foundation rocking, how the foundation reacts to the incoming wave.
That incoming wave will also be studied. Across the street from the Atwood building, buried in a 200-foot deep hole in the park strip, is another group of seismic monitors. Scientists also want to know how the ground around the building reacts during an earthquake.
Anchorage in the past has had a pretty good feel of where ground fails, along the bluff areas and things of that nature, but we really haven't had a good feel for how the ground moves. And so that, from our free field instrumentation, we're getting a better idea, week by week, on how the ground responds to incoming waves.
When the Atwood building was built in the early 1980s, it was constructed to conform with all the latest earthquake building codes. If and when another strong earthquake rocks Anchorage, the new monitoring system will help engineers learn more about the building's strengths and weaknesses. It's those lessons that could help make living in earthquake country safer in the future.
Now, the seismic monitoring project costs about $400,000. The U.S. Geological Survey picked up the tab for the monitors. Some interesting information.
Great project.
Yeah, it is. It is. Just gone online, too.
All right. Thanks, Steve.
Well, still ahead, a deadly day in Iraq and Pakistan. Explosions target Shiite Muslims in prayer.
The price of Alaska crude fell 20 cents today, closing at $35.51 a barrel.
The Dow closes down 86 points, the Nasdaq down 18, the S&P down almost 7. Here's a look at stocks of local interest.
The commitment from Providence's point of view is to essentially be state-of-the-art. We take care of sick people and get them better.
The only facility in the state of Alaska that actually does pediatric cardiology.
Better technology and better ways to do things. The pediatricians and the neonatologists are really top-notch. The technology keeps moving forward very quickly. We've got a tremendous team of talented people, and they're extremely dedicated. That gives both sides of what medicine is supposed to be.
It is the best in Alaska.
Well, guys, where to now? Okay, Taco Bell. Again.
Pick up your DD Genre Collector Cup at participating Taco Bell locations while supplies last and help support the American Cancer Society's Relay for Life.
There you go.
Thanks. Next time you guys are buying.
Get in and go. Get out and drive in. Get in and go with the hottest selection of 2004 GM vehicles in the state from Alaska's #1 GM dealer and your GM Superstore. Alaska Sales and Service. For a limited time, get your choice of APR as low as 0% for up to 60 months or rebates up to $62.50. Come celebrate with us today. You know the place. Come in today. Alaska Sales and Service. Alaska Sales and Service Anchorage and Alaska Sales and Service Valley.
Tomorrow, high-speed police chases threatening innocent bystanders. What are police departments doing to keep citizens out of the line of fire? NBC Nightly News tomorrow.
You're watching Alaska's #1 newscast. Time now for the NewsHour World Report.
The holiest day for Shiite Muslims in Iraq ends up being the bloodiest. The death toll stands at 143, more than 400 injured, after 5 blasts ripped through Shiite shrines in Karbala. At the same time in Baghdad, 4 explosions hit the city's sacred Shiite mosque. The U.S. military blames at least 4 suicide bombers for the attacks. So far, no one has claimed responsibility. And a third planned attack targeting a mosque in Basra was averted. Meanwhile, in Pakistan, also a day of violence between Shiite Muslims and Sunnis. At least 41 people are dead there after an attack on Shiite worshippers. More than 150 others wounded. Well, John Kerry is in. John Edwards almost out, and Howard Dean wins in his home state weeks after pulling out of the race. The results of the Super Tuesday voting rolling in still at this hour. Kerry has captured the lead in his home state of Massachusetts, along with Connecticut, Maryland, Ohio, New York, and Georgia. Senior Democratic officials say Edwards is expected to drop out of the race tomorrow. The announcement planned in North Carolina. About 1/3 of all voters in the Super Tuesday states put the highest priority on candidates' ability to beat President George Bush.
Congressman Don Young may go home this year without achieving one of his biggest legislative goals, to get a 6-year massive transportation bill passed. Young said today he may not get what he wants because he's up against the power of the White House. Channel 2's Seth Linden has more in tonight's Washington Report.
After more than 30 years in Congress, Alaska's Don Young is used to banging out the orders. But Young's seniority appears to be no match for the White House. The congressman conceded today he probably won't get his major transportation funding bill passed this year.
The problem is in the guy in the White House. That's the problem. I mean, I told him right up front, that's the problem, and he's wrong.
Young's a Republican and supports President Bush, but the GOP White House doesn't like the Alaska congressman's bill. One point of contention, Young's price tag. He wants a 6-year, $375 billion bill, which would help pay for projects like a Knik crossing. The White House said recently it won't even accept the Senate's transportation bill, and that measure at $318 billion costs less than Young's.
If that legislation that passed the Senate comes to his desk, he will veto it.
I'm still supporting 375, but if he's going to veto a $318 billion, he definitely will veto a $375 billion.
The other point of contention, Young's proposal to pay for his bill by raising user fees, specifically the gas tax you pay at the pump. Young says the White House doesn't want to deal with that issue in an election year. So what to do now? Young is considering a 2-year, $100 billion transportation bill. It would authorize money for a Knik crossing for 6 years, but would only guarantee money for 2 years. Young's strategy would be to pass the 2-year bill and then come back next year after the elections and pass a bigger bill. Then Young says he can get what he wants, more money, as well as the user fee. Seth Linden, Channel 2 News, Washington.
Although Young is conceding potential defeat, he says he's still considering all options, such as a 6-year bill that would cost less money. Well, still ahead, it's a new medical network in Alaska called ConnectMD.
But the new telemedicine service has some local MDs saying they've been disconnected.
Check balances, transfer funds, view statements, all with the leader in internet banking. Just some of the ways Wells Fargo free checking with direct deposit helps you manage your money from anywhere. Wells Fargo, the next stage.
Enter the Millennium Hotel and enter a world apart, where friendly Alaskan hospitality sets the standard. A place of great taste and great tastes. A haven of relaxation and personal restoration. But at the end of the day, we don't usually serve milk and cookies. Although with 24-hour room service, we could.
The luxury of the Millennium Alaskan Hotel awaits you. Weekend rate starting at $89 per night. Call now to make your reservations.
You made it to the top, one step at a time. And you think you're tired? Try doing it breathing through a tiny, little straw. That's asthma, a condition that grounds thousands of Alaskans every year. If breathing sometimes is a struggle for you, it could be asthma. To find out more, contact the American Lung Association of Alaska call center and get back on track.
The GCI company is unveiling its new medical network in its partnership with Virginia Mason Medical Center at this week's Rural Health Conference.
But the partnership is drawing some concern from Alaska's doctors. Channel 2's Joy Mapai has tonight's 2-year health report.
You're looking at the Nerve Center for GCI's new ConnectMD network. It's a private medical network that reaches clinics and hospitals in more than 100 rural Alaska communities.
It's an excellent program. We're looking about unifying the state under a uniform and very robust network.
GCI says ConnectMD is the commercial version of the federal telemedicine program. ConnectMD developed in September of 2003. That same time, GCI also announced a partnership with Seattle's Virginia Mason Medical Center to provide continuing medical education programming to providers on the network. But some Alaskan doctors say this partnership has them concerned.
I would like to think that we know best what is needed here in Alaska, and we need to be directing that. That's our job. That's what we're here for.
Dr. Jerome List says GCI has given him and other doctors very little input on the new network, and he says the company has essentially bypassed the medical community in Alaska, especially in the area of medical education. He says continuing medical programming is already available in the state, so why go outside? GCI says that's not what it's about.
We want to include as many Alaska providers as possible, and they should not have a concern about outside providers because those relationships are really focused on expanding our business into other states.
Martin Carey says in order to expand its market to Washington State, it partnered with Virginia Mason Hospital and Children's Hospital, and the partnerships have nothing to do with undermining the medical community in Alaska. Carey also says when ConnectMD Network first started out, it was a rural product driven by the needs of its clients. Now the network has evolved, and the company is looking into Anchorage and other cities in Alaska to expand.
You need a secure way to have medical providers interconnect with each other. That's what we're building and delivering to our customers today.
GCI says it is not delivering content, but does have other providers on the network that do, like Virginia Mason, and Alaskan providers are more than welcome to join. He says that's why the company is holding a focus group with Alaskan doctors and other medical staff on Friday to get the feedback on what's needed and how they can work together.
The word that I would like to use here is partnership.
Dr. List says he's not attacking GCI or Virginia Mason. He says past relationships between the two have been very good. He says he and other doctors just want to have a say in what's to go on this new network so that already scarce resources aren't stretched and Alaskan patients get the best the state has to offer. Joy Mapai, Channel 2 News.
GCI says startup cost for the ConnectMD network begins at $150 for places like doctor's offices and then goes up depending on what service is needed. GCI and Virginia Mason will host an interactive session delivered through telehealth on Thursday at the conference.
Well, still ahead, 55 and over. Not the speed limit, the Rondi Art Show.
And Jackie's up next with the forecast.
This edition of To Your Health is brought to you by Alaska Regional Hospital.
Your heart will beat 2.5 billion times in your lifetime. Every minute of every day, it's this steady pulse that holds the power of life. At Alaska Regional, our cardiovascular team provides expertise and the most advanced technology available for treating heart disease. From the first symptoms and diagnosis through intervention, surgery, and rehab, our cardiac program provides the state's best heart health care. Alaska Regional Hospital.
Hey, do the impression of the foreman.
Dad, Terry, do it. Come on, man. Do it. Get up there.
Good morning, ladies. Thanks for showing up. This is a work site. If you don't work, get out of my site. What are these girders? Pick these things up. Get them out of here. You, put them down. What did I say? Put them down. Up, down, for Pete's sake. You're driving me up a wall we ain't even built yet.
Introducing the powerful Ram Cummins 600.
He's right behind me, isn't he?
It's amazing how 600 foot-pounds of class-dominating torque can really sneak up on you.
What's cooking?
What's cooking with Chef Al? Chef Al shares his dazzling recipes with you from comfort food to sophisticated fare. So, want to see what's cooking?
Last time on What's Cooking, we prepared a Kodiak scallop wrapped in prosciutto with mango vinaigrette. Join me next time as I bring you more great recipes live from the Allen & Peterson Cooking School right here on the Morning Edition.
What's cooking with Chef Al? Wednesdays in the Morning Edition here on Channel 2. Sponsored by Allen & Peterson. An Allen & Peterson kitchen. Make it the heart of your home.
On an all-new 2-hour Dateline Friday, Jason Blair, his plagiarism, fabrications, and lies humiliated the nation's most respected paper. Now, the reporters, the story. A Katie Couric exclusive Dateline Friday, 8/7 Central on NBC.
Now, Channel 2 weather with meteorologist Jackie Purcell.
Good evening, everyone. We had cloud cover for most of the day. Just a few lighter spots in and amongst those clouds that were pretty uniform over the south central region today. Just a few little light flakes of snow as well, with mild temperatures continuing across the bowl area with 36 degrees out for Muldoon, Elmendorf, 35 for Fort Rich. It's even warm down around Girdwood, 36 degrees in the last hour, 30 at Glen Alps. Taking a look at our satellite imagery over the last 12 hours, there's a big band of clouds that stretched all the way from the Bering Sea across the interior and then down along the North Gulf Coast and through the Panhandle. It was a major player in today's weather. We had that cloud cover with some mixed snow showers, a little bit of rain too as it moved on shore, and then down around the North Gulf Coast, more in the terms of wet weather. There could be some snow tonight. In fact, there is a snow advisory around Yakutat And then again for Juneau, between 3 to 5 inches are expected. It's going to be a wet snow, though, because temperatures have been fairly mild. There's a little bit of a break behind the system, but yet more low pressure. It's going to be a mess kind of in the next couple of days because this weak low pressure will kind of ride just along the coastal sections. You could see what it's producing. A lot of precipitation coming up into Prince William Sound, and you could see that moving in a northeasterly direction. As far as the precipitation down around Homer, they're going to see that in the form of rain. Their temperatures were hitting the low 40s today. Coldest spot overnight was 31 below for Barter Island, but someone that doesn't show up very often is the high temperature Gamble on St. Lawrence Island. They got up to 55 degrees today. Not necessarily that it felt so great, because they had also some strong wind gusts going along with that, 30 to 40 miles per hour, even close to 50 miles per hour in some areas of the Bering Strait, on into interior valleys, Indian Mountain, Fort Greely, Delta Junction, also some strong winds today. It got up to 27 in Fairbanks, 24 for McGrath, and above freezing out toward Bethel, St. Paul, the Aleutians, all above freezing, and pretty warm even for Kotzebue today, 20 degrees for their high, but 3 below for the Arctic Slope, and 37 degrees for Juneau, 44 as you move down toward the southern end of the southeast panhandle. That North Gulf Coast, well, those temperatures all cooperating with that rainfall coming down. As we get into the evening hours, things will cool off a little bit, but today, Valdez 34, a high of 41 in Homer, 37 as you work your way north into Talkeetna. Here's a look at the next 24 hours. Areas of low pressure kind of hanging along the coast, and then they'll remain there tomorrow. This is the area that will see some snow likely in the next 24 hours. That could work its way into the Copper River Basin, and by Thursday, the only area clear will be up along the Arctic Slope. There's still some residual high pressure. With all this low pressure toward the southern end of the state, we are definitely in the clouds. Now for a look at the lower 48 sea, you can see this moisture riding up out of the Gulf of Mexico. That's going to combine with a little frontal boundary, and you can see that rain that is starting to show up around parts of Texas and Oklahoma. In fact, you could see some thunderstorms, and that is kind of indicative of a springtime pattern for the lower 48. Meantime, that other storm moving offshore, leaving behind some cooler air. But New York City hasn't suffered in the last hour or so. They're at 57 degrees. Chicago, a little bit cooler at 41, back even behind them. Minneapolis at 34, currently 48 in Seattle. Hot spot, 82 for New Orleans. Cold spot goes to Casper, Wyoming at 6 below. Here's a look at our forecast. Winter weather advisory tonight into that northwest corner of the state, up along the western section of the Arctic Slope. East winds 20 to 35 miles per hour over the next 24 hours or so. So that could produce some wind chill factors out that way. More clouds and strong winds around Kotzebue. Even into the interior, those winds will come up out of the east, and they're going to be continue to be strong. A winter weather advisory will continue around Nome tonight. There are gusts to 55 miles per hour. Look for rain to start around Dillingham, to continue for King Salmon, then cloud cover around Kodiak and Cold Bay, a mix of rain and snow with a host of wind advisories thrown in there in that part of the state. Snow advisories toward the northern end for Juneau and Yakutat. As we said, between 3 and 5 inches could fall. It's going to be a wet snow, though, by tomorrow, turning to rain. And your east winds 20 to 35 miles per hour. Not a lot of change in south central Alaska. Continued mild temperatures, mostly above freezing, and especially in those coastal sections. Kenai and Soldotna will be included in that, as will Wasilla and Palmer. Look for winds around the Matanuska Valley to be out of the northeast at about 15 to 30 miles per hour. A chance of some rain and snow for the Anchorage area tomorrow. Just quickly, we're going to see snow more likely by Thursday. A little cooling trend, as you can see. I want to use your pen real quickly. A day.
21.
21, a time?
1:35.
And
PM.
PM or AM?
PM.
AM, of course.
Oh, AM, okay.
It's my turn.
All right.
That will be my Nenana Ice Classic. I will not be sharing if I win.
You heard it right here. Carson with sports.
I got the Aces playing, and they're playing for a playoff berth. Stay with us.
The Channel 2 News Hour, sponsored in part by Sadler's Home Furnishings. We stand behind every piece of furniture with our 30-day money-back guarantee. And by the real Yellow Pages from ACS, the book of choice for 8 out of 10 Alaskans.
This weekend only, Sadler's $1 Million Moving Sale gets even better. Through Sunday, March 7th, you can take advantage of our $1 Million Moving Sale price reduction with 1 year same as cash financing. This is truly a great combination of moving sale reductions and 1 year same as cash terms. This offer won't last long. It ends Sunday, March 7th, so don't wait. Sadler's $1 Million Moving Sale with 1 year same as cash terms. This weekend only at Sadler's in Anchorage.
versus UAF. Game 2, Saturday, March 6th, live at 7 p.m. from the Sullivan Arena on KTUU Channel 2.
And now, from Alaska's sports leader, here's John Carpenter.
Welcome back. The Alaska Aces are home again, kicking off their final homestand of the regular season with a pair of games against the Bakersfield Condors. The Condors and the team the Aces need to put away to clinch the fourth and final playoff spot in the Pacific Division. The Aces lead Bakersfield by 17 points, and they feel a couple of wins tonight, and tomorrow night will go a long way towards locking up a slot in the postseason.
It's, coming at a time where if they're going to make a push or if we're going to push them back, this is going to be it, these last two games here in our building. And we've got to make sure we take care of, our kind of home ice advantage.
Tonight's game set to start at 7. Tune in tonight, late edition, where Lars Peterson will have the final and the highlights for you. Just to get more games to go, the Seawolves men's basketball team remains in contention for the playoffs after sweeping both Central Washington and St. Martin's last week. UAA could potentially climb in the West Regional rankings when the poll is released tomorrow. But that's not what concerns the Wolves right now. Their game at Western Washington Thursday is their main focus.
Western Washington, they like to just run it at you 100 miles per hour, so we've been trying to just play defense against that, just taking care of the ball, moving the ball around, not getting into that fast-paced game, playing fast on defense and still doing what we do on offense.
Day 4 of the Arctic Winter Games, and Team Alaska already bringing home the gold, not to mention the silver and bronze. Alaskans picked up a bunch of Ulus in competition today, boosting their total from 6 to 29. That gives them the overall Ulu lead. Their total's 9 gold, 7 silver, 13 bronze. That's 5 more than Team Yukon, who sits second in the Ulu totals with 24. Alberta North is third with 19, while Northwest Territories and Magadan are tied for fourth with 14 Ulus each. I guess it changed since I saw that last. Depending on who you talk to, the Tour of Anchorage is either the second or third largest cross-country ski race in the country. Either way, plan on the trails of Anchorage being kind of crowded Sunday. Event officials say they expect about 2,000 skiers to take part in the tour, which is made up of 3 races, 25, 40, or 50-kilometer. Tomorrow is the last big sign-up as well as bib pickup. It's set for 3 to 7 p.m. at the Russian Jack Chalet. It costs $45 to take part. Day of race registration will be available, though it's going to cost you a bit more. NFL news, Peyton Manning has become the league's highest-paid quarterback. Make that the highest-paid player in the league and the league history. Manning and the Indianapolis Colts have reportedly agreed to a 7-year deal worth just over $100 million, including a $34 million signing bonus. The deal averages out to just over $14 million a season, prompting Manning to say he's, quote, happy to be a Colt for life. 34 rookies will take part in this year's Iditarod. Among those is Wasilla Sue Allen in the second part of our 5-part Iditarod preview series. Lars Peterson introduces us to the Valley Musher.
And straight up towards the ceiling. Don't yank on your head. Up.
For most Iditarod rookies, their first year on the trail is an education. That's good news for Wasilla Sue Allen, since teaching is her career.
Down. I just really love spending time with these kids, and joking with them, getting to know them, and being part of their life. What's the object of the game?
A physical education teacher at Wasilla High School, Allen started mushing about 7 years ago. It's a perfect fit for someone who doesn't mind the extra noise.
It's almost quieter in my dog yard at hookup time than it is in this gym. Swing!
But Allen wouldn't be running the last great race without the help of her students. As a full-time teacher, the school is her biggest supporter.
Good. It's a chunk financially, take that kind of time off. But the school's been wonderful about supporting me with time off, and the kids have been great. I've got people making booties, and they're doing split-the-pot raffles, and, help me with proceeds from the student store. He's a good boy.
Because of the financial restraints, this will be Allen's first and last Iditarod. But for the rookie musher, it's enough time to experience a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity.
For me, part of the excitement is the sharing with the other mushers out there, and to getting to know the people at the checkpoint, and going through tough times and really good times with other people out there. We're going to go for a ride into this.
Allen harbors no feelings about winning. In fact, she plans to reach Nome 13 days after the start of the race.
And I'll take the Red Lantern. I'm not going to shoot for the Red Lantern, but I'll take it. I just want to hit Front Street. Go!
An education she can pass on to her students who have helped teach Sue Allen along the way. Lars Peterson, Channel 2 Sports.
That's an idea.
So we'll keep an eye on Sue
Oh,
and see
yeah.
how she does.
Oh, I hope she does great.
Wish her luck.
Thanks, John.
Still ahead, artistic vision, Alaska style.
The Art at Rondi coming up, but first a look at what else is happening at the festival.
What do you do when he wants meat lovers, she wants a Supreme, and you want your favorite? Well, Pizza Hut's got the answer. The incredible new 4-for-All. 4 individual pizzas filling one box from corner to corner. All on a not-too-thick, not-too-thin crust. The one and only 4-for-All. Only at Pizza Hut. The only way to make everyone happy is to gather around the good stuff.
Take a journey into the wilderness with Alaskan artist James Havens. It's the latest release in the Legends of Winter series. Beautiful, signed and numbered, limited edition prints depicting life on the sled dog trail. This delightful print portrays 2 mischievous ravens with a stolen dog booty. Come and get your free print and have it personally signed by the artist. At Alaska Sales and Service, Saturday, March 6th from 10 to 2 and Sunday, March 7th from 3 to 6.
I love the travel industry, but after 25 years in business, I'm working harder than ever. That's okay. I wouldn't trade my job or living in Alaska for anything. I'm banking on Alaska. That's why I count on the Alaskans at First National Bank. They're knowledgeable, helpful, friendly, and their business banking services save me time. Time for what really matters. First National Bank.
Jason Moore is up in the newsroom now with a look at what's coming up tonight on the late edition. Jason?
Well, John Maria will have more details on that situation at Ski Lac Lake. 1 person is dead. 4 others are alive after 2 trucks plunged through thin ice this morning. These are some pictures we just received. It shows one of the trucks, a U-Haul, that went through the ice. Also, we'll talk with a man who lives in a nearby cabin and assisted this family. That story and more tonight on the late edition at 10.
We'll be tuning in. Thank you, Jason. Well, finally tonight, some of Alaska's senior citizens are showing off their artistic talent this week.
Today was judging day for the annual Fur Rondi Senior Art Show. Artists 55 and older entering pieces in 4 different categories. The competition attracted more than 70 artists. According to organizers, the show is much more than a competition. Ribbons awarded today to the winners of each category, and they even sold some pieces to admirers.
It's worth going to that. A lot of talented artists there. Nice. From all of us here at Channel 2, have a good night.
Good night, everyone.
Tonight, Jay's All New with Liv Tyler. From NBC News, Brian Williams, and headlines. Then Conan's All New with Clyde Peeling and Andy Dick. Jay and Conan All New tonight.
This weekend only, Sadler's $1 million moving sale gets even better. Through Sunday, March 7th, you can take advantage of our $1 million moving sale price reduction with 1 year same as cash financing. This is truly a great combination of moving sale reductions and 1 year same as cash terms. This offer won't last long. It ends Sunday, March 7th, so don't wait. Sadler's $1 million moving sale with 1 year same as cash terms. This weekend only at Sadler's in Anchorage.
Something wonderful is happening to kids all over Anchorage. They're discovering the joy of reading. It helps them succeed in school and later in life. Now you can help with Craft Shop for Literacy. Buy Kraft or Oscar Mayer products and the elementary school of your choice gets its share of a $50,000 credit at Cook Inlet Book Company. Turn in any Kraft or Oscar Mayer label at Cook Inlet Book Company or Diamond Center Mall to earn points. The more points earned, the more your school gets. Craft Shop for Literacy. When kids learn to read, they read to learn.
Line after line, mile after mile. The men and women of the IBEW are wiring Alaska, uniting the last frontier with the next frontier. IBEW members are all over Alaska. They are your customers, your neighbors, your friends, and your family. IBEW Local 1547 and the hardworking families of the IBEW are building for the future.
If you have an interest in a mattress, we don't. That's right. For 12 months, we have no interest on any mattress. Now, if you find that interesting, listen to this. We've got incredible savings on Sealy Posturepedic, Simmons Beauty Rest, Stearns & Foster, and Simmons Exceptional. Interestingly enough, a lack of interest for 12 months is very interesting because it saves you money. Interested? We have over 50 display models to choose from, all with a lack of interest. Interested in no interest? Stop by and we'll clear this up.